got it, girl.
I had no idea. I had no idea that you guys would come out here like this. Thank you, Grace, Candace. Thank you, Greg.
We love
Thank you, Rachel. I made new family members this week. I've been trying to get all my tears out so I could just say what I needed to say. I hate that I have to use this piece of paper, but I don't want you to miss one of these points. My name is Keisha Johnson. I am a chapter president for the North Fulton chapter of Mocha Moms. There isn't one here. There isn't one here in Forsyth County, and there's a reason for it. I am a wife, I am a mother, I'm a daughter. Their lives matter. My black life matters. Your black lives matter. Some of you might know my name because for the last 7 days I've been making every attempt to educate our local community on systemic racism, blatant disregard for people of color, and harmful attacks that have occurred right here in Forsyth County. My husband and I moved to Cumming 13 years ago, aware of the history of racism that plagued this town, but still young and hopeful that we could rise above and ignore it. But it didn't take long for that hope to dissipate. If you knew my Fortnite playing, website building husband who has never smoked a cigarette in his life, you would wonder why he's been pulled over, harassed by the police on 9 occasions. Can you think of anything major in your life that you have done 9 times? Have you been handcuffed for cashing a check with too many zeros for a black man? The odds are against us. Our skin is against us. I can't even feel it, but it hurts. No speeding tickets on that man's record, no infractions, no crimes committed, just harassment. If you ask our good friends, they'll tell you they don't know anyone who's been pulled over more time than my husband. And this is in the back of my mind every time someone looks at my 2 sons and says, "You look just like your daddy." We used to live in the madness of the never-ending construction zone that most of you know as Pilgrim Mill Road. One day, just as my husband was nearing home from work, just a mile away, he's pulled over by Forsyth County Sheriff. Turn my mic up, I don't think they can hear me across the street. The officer approaches the car and he asks my husband a series of questions that every black person who has been harassed by law enforcement would understand. You can probably say them with me. Where are you going? Do you live in this neighborhood? Where are you coming from? The man was wearing a blue collared shirt, a work badge, and it was 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Is this your car? For about 15 minutes, my husband waited in the car where he called me to warn me that it was happening again. All I could do was cry and pray. And when I think back to how long it took for them to murder George Floyd, it feels like a gut punch. Just give us a couple of minutes and we'll let you know, was the response when he asked why he was pulled over. Were they standing there trying to come up with a reason to pull my husband over? Did they take pleasure in accosting him? I can't know their hearts or their intentions, but I can know that they did it together. He even called for backup. I don't condone that kind of unity, and neither should you. No speeding tickets, no infractions, no crimes committed. When they returned to the vehicle, this time a male and a female officer began with their continued line of questioning, hand on firearm. Were you involved in a robbery? Have you been to Austell, Georgia today? It took them another 5 minutes before they returned to my 6'2", 175-pound husband to say, it seems you're not a 300-pound black man, and you're not missing a part of your arm. So you can have your license and you're free to go. Who puts them in a lineup? Who meets them on the other side of a two-way mirror? Who puts them in cuffs? Who holds the bad police accountable? I worry about my husband and children. I worry about how scary my sons will become. I worry about my boys becoming a hashtag because playing with a toy gun and sleeping in your bed are now a death sentence. We are going to continue. Are we going to continue in this environment?
No.
Where my boys' lives don't matter?
No.
I have 4 beautiful and brilliant children. But I don't send them to Forsyth County schools. When we're looking to move here, we hunted for a location where we could get the best education, safe, highest ratings. But this place didn't feel safe for my kids. And as they grew older, I realized it. I've heard countless stories about your children's experiences too. And you'll hear some more today. It wasn't part of the plan, but I'm a teacher now, a home educator. I had to do it for my children to be safe. I wanted them to grow up in our Christian faith, but I can't reconcile sending them to a place where the fruits of Christian moms and dads spew hate in their homes. Am I homeschooling my children out of fear? It's a valid question. And keeping them at home is a valid response. Just 2 years ago, not in your the past is the past world, my kids left the dentist's office and they received some prizes for their good behavior and their clean teeth. But after emptying all the acorn prize bubbles, my oldest decides it would be an awesome idea to recycle them for Earth Day. Yeah, that's my kid. So they all empty their plastic bubbles, and my oldest opens the car door, and all of those stupid plastic bubbles fall out on the curb and under the passenger seat. When I looked up from under the seat, within moments, a man had pulled alongside us and is screaming every vile curse word in the book at my family. Both windows are up at this point, and I couldn't push that button fast enough. I was frantic and panicking for my son to get back in the car. And all I could think was, calm down, I have kids in my car. And he screams back, I don't care about your nigger kids, you stupid nigger. Just me, no problem. I can deal. I've adjusted to that annual display of ignorance in this part of town. But my kids are off limits. Those were some of the most terrifying moments in my life because I couldn't get to my son fast enough. And I didn't know how long the screaming was gonna last or what it was gonna escalate to. I still remember his license plate number. And I remember the words the officer said to me after I filed a police report. He said, "We told him not to do it again." No consequences, no accountability, no justice. I've been watching the racist comments from too many people in this community all over social media. Not just in the last few days, no, years. I've seen idiots rage over lack of toilet paper in the stores and having to wear a mask in Costco. How dare I complain about injustice? This is why we say Black Lives Matter, because we want to be included in the conversation when people say everyone's life matters. And I've seen the ignorant comments that say, well, what about the black people that kill other black people? What's the big deal? But have you ever stepped into a black community to see the gun drop drives and the after-school programs and the black mamas knocking their kids upside the head so that the police don't have to? The pastors and the preachers counseling and healing, all while the government keeps the community poor. You've seen enough videos on systemic racism. Don't play dumb. If you had no idea, you've been schooled today. I was terrified to stand here and speak to you about my experiences in Forsyth County. Steps away from the jailhouse, near a place where a man once hung.
Yes.
I know all the history. I studied. But I'm standing here to tell you that Black lives matter. Your signs are beautiful. But this is more than a hashtag and more than a painted sign. I'm so strengthened by you, standing here. We love you. We became an overnight organization. Forsyth County United.
Yes.
And I'm going to add that there are petitions on that group page that you can sign. But I told my best friends when I joined that Facebook group that there are white folks in Wakanda, y'all. And I'm grateful for your listening ear to our unheard voices. Justice for every life stolen. Justice for Breonna Taylor, whose killer